Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unit 1, Notes 3B, Slope-Intercept Forms. Let's take a look at these. And again, I talk faster than you can write, so please pause the video and take the time you need to write things down. Okay, slope-intercept form. So the slope-intercept form of an equation is y is equal to mx plus b. M represents your slope, and b represents your y-intercept. Okay, so that's the biggest thing you need to know. Y and x will always be in the equation. Right, we leave them in there as y and x, and we'll occasionally take them out when we need to solve for stuff, but they should be left as y and x for the most part. Now, we talked a little bit about the slope on the previous note sheet. We talked about how it's rise over run. You could also look at the slope as being change in y over change in x. That's what that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is representing. Change in y over change in x. So really, that's nothing new. We worked with that a lot in the last note sheet. The y-intercept is the point where it crosses the y-axis, or the value when x is equal to 0. Now, if you're thinking about a graph like this, remember the y-axis is the one that's up and down. Okay, so that's where it's crossing the up and down axis. And this form is primarily used to graph linear equations. All right, and we're going to be using them to model linear equations as well. But we're going to start by just graphing them. Before we get too far into that, I want to kind of practice writing things in slope-intercept form. So when it gives us the slope and it gives us the intercept, that's pretty straightforward. All we have to do is just plug it in. Okay, so we know what our m is and we know what our y is. Now remember that slope-intercept form is just y is equal to mx plus b. So I'm just going to plug in what I know. Y is equal to, now I know that m is equal to negative 2x, so I'm going to plug that in. Remember, again, I'm leaving y and x in there. And b is equal to 2. So I can plug that in as well. So that right there is your slope-intercept form. Let's take a look at number 2. Okay, same thing, y equals mx plus b. Well, my y is going to stay in there. I'm going to take out the m, and I'm going to replace it with 4/3. X stays in there. I'm going to take out the b, and I'm going to replace it with a negative 4. So that's my slope-intercept form. Y is equal to 4/3 x plus a negative 4. Same thing for number 3. We're going to take out the m. So remember, the y is going to stay in there. We're going to take out the m, replace it with a 2. Keep the x in there. Take out the b, replace it with a 5. That's your final answer. I want you to go ahead and try number 4 on your own. See if you can do number 4 on your own, okay? And then move on once you're done. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is write each line in slope-intercept form. So to write something in slope-intercept form, we need 2 things. I need the y-intercept, and I need the slope. So let's go ahead and let's calculate those. The y-intercept we haven't really learned how to do yet, but you did learn how to do the slope yesterday. Okay, so the y-intercept, it looks like, is this point right here. That's where it's crossing the y-axis. And I see where it's crossing the y-axis by counting from the x-axis. So we're going down 1, 2 from the x-axis. So the y-intercept is negative 2. So now I need to calculate the slope. So I'm going to go from this point here up to that point there. So I need to figure out first how many I'm going up. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. So I'm going 6 up, which is positive. And then I'm going right 1, 2, 3, 4. Right is also positive. So my slope is 6/4. I can actually reduce that fraction. Both the top and the bottom are divisible by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my slope is 3/2. Now remember, my slope, that's my y, or my m. And my b is going to be my y-intercept. So I'm going to keep the y. And then instead of writing m, I'm going to write my slope, which is 3/2. Keep my x, and instead of writing b, I'm going to write my y-intercept. Now, I wrote it as plus a negative 2. You could also write it as minus 2. Both of those are okay. Same thing for this next one. There's 2 things we need to find. First, we need to find our y-intercept. Well, it's crossing the y-axis here, and that's up 1 from the x-axis. So my b is equal to 1. So now I need to go ahead and calculate the slope. I'm actually going to use this point to this point since they're marked on the graph for me. So I need to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. I went 1 too far. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we are. And then I need to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went down 4, which is negative, and over 6. So this is actually going to kind of be a reverse of the one that we just did. Both of them are negative, so we can divide both of them by 2. Sorry, both of them are even, so we can divide both of them by 2, so then we get negative 2/3, and that's our m. So now let's plug that into our slope-intercept form. So our y is going to stay in there, our m is going to be a negative 2/3 x, and our b is going to be 1. And this right here is our final answer. Let's take a look at number 7. Okay, so we need to calculate out the points for number 7. That's where we have to kind of look for those corners. So I see a corner here. So that is a point right there. And I also see a point that is a corner right there. Remember, looking for where it's touching those corners. That means it's a point. So this point is going over 0, up 3. This point is going over 1, down 3. Okay, so let's think about it. I picked that point in a really smart way. I made one of the points I'm using my y-intercept. So I already know the answer to the first part that I need. It's up 3. That's my y-intercept. So my b is equal to 3. Now to get the slope for my m is going to be equal to, well, let's figure it out. So from this point, we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for that point, we went down 6. And then now we're going to go over 1. Well, I'm just going to reduce that and make it nice and pretty, and I'm going to call that negative 6. So I'll go ahead and plug that in. We're going to keep our y, our m is negative 6x, and then our b is 3. So y is equal to negative 6x plus 3. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys try number 8 on your own. Know that here is a good point to use, right here. And I think that that's also a good point to use. So go ahead and calculate how it's most comfortable for you. If you're stuck, please bring it up to me. I'd be more than happy to help you. Okay, so now we want to graph. Okay, know that when you have something that's just a number right here, so that number that's being multiplied by the x, that's your slope. So let's pull those pieces of information out. So I have that my slope is equal to negative 3. Well, sometimes that's confusing to me as to what that means. Remember that negative 3 is the same as negative 3 over 1. So that's how I'm going to get my rise over 1. If it's just a number, you can go ahead and put a 1 on the bottom. My b, or my y-intercept, is 4. So I'm going to start off by graphing that. I'm going to find 4 on the y-axis, which is right here. So I know that that guy right there is a point. And then I need to go down 3, so I'm going to go down 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. And I'm going to go ahead and plot that point right there. Okay, so now I have 2 points. And conveniently, when you have 2 points, you have a line. So let's kind of recap the steps I did. I pulled out the parts, graphed the y-intercept, used the slope to get the next point. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. So let's pull out the information from this next one. So we know that our y-intercept is at negative 2. So my b is negative 2. And now my slope, which is being multiplied by the x, is a 2. Well, that's going to be the same as 2 over 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure that out. So we're crossing the y-axis at a negative 2. So that's going to be right here. I'm going to maybe do that in a darker color. So that's right here. Then we're going up 2 over 1. Remember, rise over run. So up 2 over 1, which is right. Ooh, that's not working very well, is it? Right here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and connect those lines, or those 2 points to make a line. I hope yours is a lot more straight than mine. Mine's pretty bad. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this next one. Let's pull out those pieces. So we get that our slope is 2/3, because that's what's multiplied with the x, and our y-intercept is at a negative 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's plot that. So then we're going to have a negative 2 for our y-intercept, and then we're going up 2 over 1, 2, 3. And that's our next point right there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect that with a straight line. It might help you if you use like the edge of your iPad or the edge of another piece of paper for a straight edge. That tends to help you draw more straight lines. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys try number 12 on your own. Notice that the slope is negative, so that means your line should be going down. Okay? Let's take a look at this last problem here. It says match each equation with this graph. Now, when you do multiple choice in math, there's a lot of tricks you can play. So I kind of want to show you some of those tricks. So when you get to take bigger multiple choice math tests, you kind of have these tricks that you can follow. So I look at number 13, and because I'm smart, I know that for number 13, the y-intercept is 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to worry about the slope. I'm just going to look at A, B, and C, and I'm going to find a line that has a y-intercept of 5, a positive 5. I look at A, well that slope, that y-intercept is at a negative 1. I look at B, well that y-intercept's at a negative 5. That doesn't help me. I look at C, and that y-intercept is at a positive 5, so that's good. In case I'm nervous, I could check the slope. It says it's negative 6, which means I should be going down 6 over 1. Well, let's go down 6 over 1 and see if that's a point. Go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. There we go. So this one has to be C. For number 14, we're crossing at negative 5, which I found at B, and then we should be going up 2 over 1. Let's go up 2 over 1. Is that a point? It certainly is. So this is B. Then, by process of elimination, number 15 has to be A. So I want you to make sure your note sheet is completely filled out. Then you're going to go ahead and bring it up to me, and I will give you the homework to move on to. Thanks for listening.